Hi everybody, Mark Michaels here with Cutting Horse Central, and one of the toughest behind the scenes jobs there is with cutting horses or any equine discipline is the farrier. It all starts from the ground up with the farrier, and we're joined here by one of the best. He's been around for quite a while in the cutting horse industry, Mr. Tommy Boudreau. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Mark, very much. Thanks for coming out, and I'm real excited about it.
Thanks for having us. Tell us a little bit about, how long have you been shoeing horses now?
Sure. Well, first I'd like to say you and I go back a long ways, all the way back to the Greg Welch days, back in the
92.
92. Yeah. Anyway, Mark, to answer your question, I shod my first horse for money in 1972. I think I was like 15. The way I got interested in it is we had when I grew up in Southern California, kind of in a dairy area, and we had a couple of horses we rode in the riverbeds and stuff. And I was always fascinated when the farrier would come out and trim their feet. And when I was 13 and we moved to Texas, I told my folks, I said, well, I know a bit about horses already, but I'm real interested in farriery, and I'd love to learn how to shoe horses. And we moved to Texas, and we didn't bring our horses with us, but immediately bought a couple horses here. And
experimental guinea pig projects.
Well, and I went to work for a gentleman named Ed Workman. A lot of people know him, and a guy named Bill Kelly and Fritz Hunsucker shod his horses. And I started working with them a little bit and asking them questions. Next thing you know, I buy an old anvil and kind of got started on my own and with their guidance. And later on, and started shoeing a few horses. And then later on, I met a gentleman named John Marino from New Jersey. He just moved down here and opened a supply store. And John kind of took me under his wings. I went from, that would have been in 1981. John, when I went to John the first time to buy some supplies, he told me that he'd like me to come back to his shop and maybe learn a little bit about forging and stuff. So I went to John's shop, and he kind of took me under his wing. I was very blessed and fortunate that John liked me and we hit it off so well. And he introduced me to the forge, kind of stepped my shoeing up a bit. I went from shoeing with rusty tools in the back of a pickup to, a shoeing rig, and later on started rigging out a little trailer and stuff, which I still pull a trailer. To this day, I still pull a trailer.
Well, it is typically a trade that's handed down from master to master. It's not something you can go to school and learn out of a book. I mean, you've got to get in there and get your hands dirty. And
That's correct. Yeah, you really do. And I was real fortunate because I have actually never been to any kind of official horseshoeing school. I mean, I never said, goodbye family, I'm going to go for 6 weeks and I'm going to learn how to shoe horses. I never really did that. I think one advantage I had was being around the circle I was in, plus having my own horses. And I did have a couple guinea pig horses that I did use that man, I put some weird shoes on some of those horses back in the early days, and learned a lot just on my own horses like that, and was fortunate enough to be able to shoe some ranch horses, maybe out like in western Palapinta County for some of the great ranchers like George Overton and Birch Wilfong. Gee whiz, there was Emery Birdwell Sr., who's one of the founders of the NCHA, Grady Blue, another founder of the NCHA, and I was fortunate enough to get to shoe horses for those guys back in the early day. I thought I knew a bit about shoeing back then, but looking back, oh man, some of the mistakes you make along the way, and I was really fortunate to be able to learn that way.
Yeah.
And learn from my own mistakes to kind of what I've doing to present. And still to this day, I mean, I have not hit the finish line by any means. I mean, I'd like to think I do things a little bit different, shoe horses a little bit better, even than I did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You just keep getting ideas, and then heck, you do something and then you realize, oh yeah, I did that 10 years ago and I kind of forgot about that. And so it's a never ending learning experience. In the art of horseshoeing just fascinates me as
Yeah.
well.